So currently there are 600 million people, or half of the population of the continent of Africa, that lack access to electricity. And if you're trying to enter the workforce or compete in the age of AI, there's no way in hell you can do that without access to electricity. So we have to start there. And IDA, which is the only fund that currently exists to provide low or zero interest loans to 75 of the world's poorest countries, has as its stated objective to provide 250 million people with access to electricity by 2030 if it's fully funded. So that's why Global Citizen, together with Bridgewater, together with Harith, are hosting a summit in Côte d'Ivoire on October 9th and 10th, with the express goal of calling on the G20 to increase their investment by 25%, which would mean an additional $6 billion to go to fund IDA and the 75 poorest countries to provide access to electricity and ultimately competition in the workforce. Look at the trend of interest rates globally. You know, in the last post-COVID and as the Federal Reserve has adjusted, we've seen interest rates all around the world increase. So if you took out a loan and it was a variable loan during that period, around the pandemic period, which most nations had to survive, or if you built new infrastructure, then what might have been an interest rate at that point of 2, 3, 4% is now 6, 8, or 12%. Think about that. That means right now, if you're an emerging market, and this is what data from the IMF shows, 1 in 5 emerging markets are currently spending more money to service their debt repayments than they're receiving in any form of foreign aid. That means money is flowing out of emerging markets at a faster rate than it's flowing in, which is unconscionable given the state of global economic development. All of the G20 nations that you're seeing are starting to break their aid promises. The UK has broken their aid promise, France recently, the European Union, the United States, all the major aid donors are starting to walk back. And obviously, you know, the old adage, you know, they're arguing, well, we've got austerity at home and blah, 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 blah. But it's such short-term thinking, because we know that if you don't address the major population growth that's occurring across the continent of Africa, then you'll have ongoing instability. You'll have major migratory challenges in the future. So you have to invest in the future. Unfortunately, political cycles, 3-4 years, promotes short-termism. Whereas what we really need to be thinking is, how do you create long-term investment to turn the massive population boom that's occurring across Africa right now into an asset for Africa and for the entire planet?